Hello there again, it's Jim here with an update on CryptoHopper, and I wanted to show you my results after 2 whole months of using CryptoHopper, and this is my trade history page, as you can see, and I have filtered out the results to show the biggest trades at the top and the smaller trades going down towards the bottom. And as you can see, over the last 2 months there have been hundreds and hundreds of trades, and not all of them successful, but I have managed to turn originally $299, then I put some more money in and I went to $670. So for about 90% of that last 2 months, I started with 670. In the first week I was using $299 to test out the bot. Alright, so for most of that time in the last 2 months, I had a base number of $670, and I thought, right, I'm going to see if I can make my 1% a day. Now, I haven't quite achieved 1% a day, but I have made profits. I've turned $670 into a total of $773, and that is quite good. Not as good as it could have been. I made a lot of mistakes in that 2 months, which I hopefully will not be making again. So things should improve further for the next month or two, as I keep on trying to get to that 1% per day profit level. Okay, so what I was trying to do, if you saw my previous video, was take $670 and add 1% to it every day, compounding. And as you saw, if you watched the previous video, have a look for it if you haven't seen it, we can get to some phenomenal numbers if we keep compounding our profits back into the trading bot. So eventually we turn 670 into a lot more money. Now, it's a given that $103 profit, which is $773 that I'm sitting on now, is not a huge number, but it is if you extrapolate that number and you stretch it out over a year. It means that right now I have just broken even. Paying for the bot is $49 a month, and paying for the signals is $10 a month, so that's $59 a month. So I have to make $59 a month at least for me to look at the bot and say, yes, this is worth doing. Because if we're starting with $670 and we are adding 1% per day, in the first month or two, there's not going to be a lot of profit after paying for the bot and the signals. Okay, but once we continue going on past that 1-2 month mark, and we factor in the mistakes I made in that first 2 months, I made some silly mistakes and had reduced profits as a result. So I'll tell you about those mistakes soon when we get to that part. What I'm going to do is just now, you can actually pause the video, and because this is really long, as you can see, my results page is massive. Now this is all I've filtered them by this here, which is giving me all of the sell orders first. Okay, so we'll get to about halfway down, scrolling down this page, and then it will switch to the buy orders. So at least half of this page is profits. Okay, so I'm going to scroll down quickly, and I'll leave it scrolling, and you want to have a closer look, you can just pause the video. Okay, so I'll let it scroll quite quickly there so we get through to the end. Hopefully you can pause the video if you want to take a closer look. So you see, let's just have a quick look here. We're getting down to, there's a lot of trades that are just under 1%. That's okay, profit is profit. Now I need to make a minimum on any trade of 0.015, 0.025 actually, because the fees at Binance, if you are using Binance Coin, are reduced to 0.075%. So if you are trading with $10, it will cost you 0.075% of that $10 to trade. So what I want to do is make a minimum, absolute minimum of 0.1%, and that will be a minuscule profit, not really even worth doing, but it will cover my fees. Okay, so as you can see, here we go. There's the bad ones, as I call them. This trailing stop loss sold $30 of WTC coin, but the price was going down too quickly for the bot to sell it at a profit. And that is the only time that has happened, as I mentioned in my previous video. Now you can see my smallest positive trade is 0.08%. That barely covers the fees. Okay, and that was a $50 trade there. Alright, so that was MCO coin. But more or less everything else above that, as you can see, has grown my little pot of gold, so to speak. Alright, and then there's a few little ones here where I made mistakes. I panic sold. I saw things going down really quickly and I went, oh no, and I clicked on the sell button. I should have just left them and they would have come back up. Now, okay, so like I said, we will get to the buy orders here. These are, you're not going to see any numbers here because it's buying. Okay, so anyway, I want to pop to my dashboard now. Just the last couple of days, everything that I had eventually sold. Okay, you can see my last trade was just a couple of hours ago, and that was 1.8%. So you see, got some nice profits here. There is my, don't know if you can see it or not, I'll zoom in. There is my, where is it? Start balance there. $670 I started with, and 2 months later I am sitting on $773.63, which is not as good as I wanted. I wanted 1% per day. It actually worked out at around 0.25% per day, because of the mistakes I made. Now, let me tell you about these mistakes I made. Sometimes the bot was buying coins for me, and let's say it would buy, for example, $10 of Bitcoin. And later on, a few hours later, Bitcoin drops like 5%. Or something like that, or maybe 10%. So I'm looking at a bag of Bitcoin that is now only worth $9.50 or $9. So what I would have done is manually DCA that Bitcoin. So I would say, right, well, I'm going to buy another $10 of Bitcoin. And then I'm going to combine them to create one trade. So I would be looking at $10 and say $9.50. So that would be $19.50 combined. And that would bring up that 5% negative profit up to about 2.5% in the red instead of 5% in the red. Okay? But what I was doing was I was trading with, let's say, $30, $40, $50 of Bitcoin at a time, $50 on each coin sometimes, $30 and $20, bigger amounts. And what I ended up doing was manually DCAing a lot of things that I saw in the red, and some of the things that went into the red went to 15, 20, 25% in the red. And I had already manually DCA'd a lot of those orders, and I left myself with no money remaining to trade with. I got down to $0 in here. So eventually I ended up watching the bot every day, and it couldn't buy anything new because everything was in the red. Everything was at least 2% in the red, and I couldn't sell anything because I would have lost. And I had to just wait until things started coming up back into the green. Now, in hindsight, I will not manually DCA, or at least I will not do that as frequently, and I will not do such big amounts. And I will keep each trade now to around $12.50 maximum. So if it buys now, it's set to buy whatever coin the signal sends me, and it will buy $12.50 worth. Now what will happen is I've left it to the bot to decide when to do the dollar cost averaging, that's the DCA, and the number is currently around 22% in the red. So if it goes down by 22%, it will buy another double the amount, which is $25, $12.50 times 2. It will buy $25 more of Bitcoin while it is 22% under. And that will bring up that percentage under. Do the maths, approximation, maybe about 5, 6 or 7% in the red rather than 22% in the red. So then Bitcoin itself only has to go up 5, 6, 7%, and you are back into profit territory. So that's what I'm going to be doing the next month or two. I'm not going to be panic selling. I'm not going to be panic dollar cost averaging. And I'm certainly not going to be dollar cost averaging when it dips only a couple of percent, because I've seen in my experience things can go like minus 5% in the red within a couple of hours of the bot buying. And it can shoot back up again just as quickly as it sank down. And you can kick yourself for dollar cost averaging when you do that. Okay. So anyway, so it was a quick update about CryptoHopper. I do have some settings available for anybody who gets CryptoHopper through my link. And I've got all the settings and the templates I'm using and the signals I'm using and some tips on how not to end up with lots of bags of cryptocurrency that you can't sell. I've got 3 or 4 awesome tips to help minimize as much as possible the risk of being stuck, being caught with bags where you end up with $0 available to trade with, and you sat there looking at the bot for several weeks while everything is in the red. It's a dreadful feeling. But if that ever does happen to you, by the way, and it shouldn't if you watch my secret video and listen to the advice that I give you in that video, if you do end up in that position, do not sell. If you have everything is like -5, -10, -20, -25% even, Do not sell it. It will come back up. I promise you. It will come back. Even if you have to wait weeks and weeks. Now, if you wait and you're patient, you will eventually be back into the profit zone. And that is a lot better than selling. Excellent. We've just got a buy order coming through. It's been a bit quiet for the past few hours because Bitcoin is kind of sinking down a little bit, as you can see. This is the 1 hour chart. Bitcoin has been kind of coming down for the past 12 or so hours, and the bot hasn't really been buying much as a result of that. So I think it's been waiting for Bitcoin to bounce to about here. I think because I've had that signal now, that Bitcoin, the signaler, has noticed that Bitcoin is about to bounce off here and it's about to go back up. So all that means all the other altcoins are likely to follow it. Okay, so BTT is just buying now. Let's see how long it takes to buy. Sometimes can take up to 10 minutes. So where was I? Anyway, do not sell when everything goes in the red, no matter how tempted you are, because when you sell 10% under, 20% under, you are losing money. That is when you do actually lose money. If you refuse to sell like I did for the past 2 months, apart from those bad examples where you saw the red stuff, I think I lost about $5 or $6, by the way, with those red trades where I panic sold. I lost about $5 or $6, and I could have had around $780 sitting here now, rather than $773. Now, do you remember in my previous video I was telling you about the power of compounded interest rates, okay? Compounded profits. Now, if we, for example, I started with 670 and I ended up with 773. So that was in 2 months, $103 profit. Even though I ended up with much of that time, like over a month, with things in red and I couldn't trade. So there was not a lot of action for well over a month. And everything was in the red. I had no funds to trade with. And I was kind of stuck in the mud and kicking myself because I'd spent all my money. 670, I turned it into 773 despite all of that. Now, if I had not gotten stuck like I did, I have learned from my mistake, believe me, and you will learn from my mistake as well. I'll explain my mistake in more detail in the secret video. Now, I'm going to put in $773, which is what I'm sitting at right now. All right. Now, I'm not going to add in 1% per day because that is too ambitious, I believe. All right. But I am going to put more than I have made for the last 2 months. The last 2 months, if I average it out and I do calculations, despite the mistakes I made and the stuff that I had in red for a long time, I have still made 0.25% per day compounded, and that was 60 days, 100% reinvested, including weekends, 7 days a week. I have made less than that. I've made 773. I think was it 180 or something like that, 0.18%. Not even that. Oh, sorry, I'm looking at 773. This should be 670. That's what it started off on. Alright, 747, that's not enough, so 0.2%, 755, a little bit more, to 1%, 759, to 2%, 764, we're getting there. Okay, 0.23, it's about 234, 0.24. There we go. So that is 670, adding 0.24% per day for 60 days, reinvesting the whole amount for the whole of 60 days equals $773. That's $103 profit, and that's at just 0.24%. Now, if I hadn't made all the mistakes that I made the last couple of months, with that manual DCAing, that panic selling, being silly, changing the coin amounts and stuff like that, and not just letting the bot do its thing, I truly believe that I would be a lot closer to 1%. I don't think I would have made a whole 1% per day, because there were days where Bitcoin was going sideways or it was coming down, it wasn't trading enough. So I think a very safe and conservative bet is 0.5% per day. Kind of 99% sure that that is quite achievable over the next couple of months. So let's see what $773 would add up to over the next couple of months. So it's November 25th now, December 25th, January 25th. So by January 25th, I am hoping to get to $1,042. All right. And as you can see, it will mean that I will be making about $3.87 per day to begin with. All right. And reinvest it, get another 0.5% for the day. And you can see this little number here. Each day is going up a little bit. After 8 days, we'll get to our first point where we make a $4 profit. Let's find out where we will reach $5 profit. Okay, so it's around day 53. So it's close to the last 60th day, the 2-month mark. So this is about 7 weeks, yes? 7 weeks, I reach my $5 a day. And obviously I'm going to keep going beyond that. But if you look at day number 52, all right, I've just passed $1,001. And from then on, should be making $5 a day. And that will keep going up and up and up. And let's have a look at what we will get in 2 years with that. Okay, so how many days in 2 years? 365 times 2 is 730. 730 days, starting with 773, 0.5% per day. Oftentimes you might get some more, oftentimes you'll get less, right? But on average, 0.5. Let's compound that, calculate. All right, 2 years. Should end up with $29,470 from that initial $773, which I'm sitting on now. So let's have a look. Where do we reach our first $5? It's on day 50 something. There we go, day 53. And we're up to $1,006 on day 53. All right. So let's keep going down to month 3, which is 90 days. We're up to $6 per day profit. Now, by this time, we are well and truly covering the costs of the bot and the signals. We need to make a minimum of $60 every month to cover the price of the bot and the signals. All right. And anything beyond $60 is profit, pure profit. And what I do is I use my PayPal money. I've got plenty of money in PayPal to pay for the bot. I do not take any of the profit out of my cryptocurrencies to pay for the bot, because I want to keep all of that in one piece, so it's compounding my earnings. Okay, makes sense? So we reach our first $6 day on day 90, and we are up to 1,210, and we're getting close to double our money. All right, and we're being patient, we're reinvesting the whole lot, and we keep going to 180 days, which is 6 months. What level are we at? All right, we're getting closer to $10 a day. All right, and also we're getting closer to $2,000 in our little pot. Okay, so let's keep going to the 1 year mark. There's the $10 mark after 192 days. We're up to just over $2,000 from the 773. Let's keep scrolling down to 365 days. All right, yep, there we go. There's the 1 year mark. So that'll be 25th of November 2021. Today is the 25th of November 2020. We're making around $23.75 per day. And we have grown our $773 to $4,772. So that's almost $4,000 up from that 773. All right, so actually on 1 year and 1 day, we will have surpassed $4,000. All right, so let's keep scrolling down to the 2 year mark. It should be 730 days. Let's have a look if we can cross the $100 a day mark. Yes, there we go. Day 654. So it's almost 2 years in. We have reached $100 days. Can you imagine? That'd be nice. All automated. Not much interference needed from you. You can walk away from your computer, get on with life, play video games, teach English online, or do whatever it is that you do to make money. Go to your day job, go to your full-time job, part-time job, go to your studies, whatever. Clean the house, whatever. Look after the kids. Do whatever it is you do once you've set the bot up and it's running. Keep an eye on it. I'm always looking at it. I enjoy it. I like looking at it. Did it buy? Yes, it did buy. Okay, it bought that BTT 3 minutes ago. And see, already it's gone into the red by 0.23%. And it often does that. It'll go straight into the red. Sometimes it goes 2% under, straight after buying. And that's annoying, but you know, it's going to happen. It's not going to be perfect every time. Sometimes it goes minus 2%, and then 5 minutes later, it's 1% in the green again. So don't worry about that. Minus 2.2, minus 0.15. We can click on here. We can look at the chart. BTT. I like to look on the... Okay, so that's why it decided to buy. It saw the big drop, and it bought here at the bottom. Now it's on its way back up. Look at the 1 minute chart. Alright, yes, it might come down a little bit more and then go up. But you can see the big drop. It's pretty safe to say it looks like it's going to... The only way for it to go, I think, is up. Now, what I usually do is I look at Bitcoin. What's Bitcoin doing? Okay, Bitcoin looks as though it's going to bounce around here. No guarantees. Looks as though it's going to bounce. You see the stochastic RSI is really down low. You could turn around and go back up. And I believe it's going to reach 20k within a few days. Alright. So anyway, there you go. It's just going up a little bit now. Shall we see if we're in profit? Not yet. 0.12. As you can see from here, it's 2 cents down. That 0.26 is 0.29 cents down, and that'll go back up into the green. I'm not worried about it in the slightest. Now, if this gets to minus 20%, it could do. It's possible. Minus 22%. The bot. Let me show you. dollar cost averaging will buy more of this BTT coin. So instead of being minus 22% down, it will bring the percentage up to about minus 10%. Or depending on how much the DCA buys, it could even be like minus 6 or minus 7%. Alright, so don't worry about that. Look at this, minus 0.59. It could go a couple of percent down. It'll come back up though. I trust in these signals. Alright, anyway, back to here. Day 654, our first $100 day, making just 0.5% profit per day. And we're up to $20,000. That's not a bad little earnings in 2 years from 773. It's way better than any bank account will give you. In fact, if you have a bank account and you put $100 in there, and the interest they give you is 1%, it doesn't even cover the cost of inflation. That $100 will actually only be worth about $97 in a year. Add your 1% to that, it'll be worth $98. So you'll actually lose money despite the bank giving you 1% interest. You'll lose money because of inflation. So make your money work for you. You know what I mean? If I had $100, I wouldn't put it in the bank now. I would buy Bitcoin with it and just sit on it for 5 years. And maybe that $100 would then be worth $500. And that is way better interest than any bank is ever going to give you. Right? Okay, so let's scroll down to the end. Just 730 days. We're up to $146 per day at this point after 2 years. And you know how fast 2 years goes. Look back at the last year. Look back at 2020, the COVID-19 pandemic. How fast has this year gone? How fast will next year go and the year after that? Imagine blinking, practically blinking, and taking $773 and turning it into $29,470 with just 0.5% profit per day. So back to the bot. There you go. It was minus 0.5. It seems to be coming back up now. Not guaranteed to go right up, but it would be nice to show you. Okay, it does look like it's on its way back up. Let's have a look at the 5-minute chart. You can see it's bounced here, it's bought somewhere here, and it's bounced up, and then it's gone down again, and it looks like, I think it's going to go back up now. Could be wrong, might tank a little bit more. It's the 1-minute chart. It's come down. It's got to a certain point, it's gone, okay, buy, and then it's gone down a little bit more, and it's come up, and I think, yes, it is coming up. Let's have a look, see if that's gone green. There you go. It's gone into the green, and hopefully I'll get 1 or 2% profit from that. As you can see, it's bought $12.51 worth, actually closer to $12.52 worth. So I've kept my numbers low instead of buying $25 or $50 every time. I'm just buying a sensible amount. That leaves me plenty of funds here. You can see this has taken $12.50 off that number. Plenty of funds here to get myself out of trouble. What would happen if this dropped to minus 50% under? It would mean that that $12.50 is only worth about $6. What is it? $6.75? Is it? $6.25. $6.25. What would happen is the bot could buy another $12.50, and that would bring the negative percentage up. and you buy another $12.50 and bring the percentage up further. And then when this coin eventually does come back up, and they always do, when it eventually does come back up, I'm going to end up with about $50, $60, $70 in BTT, plus 1 or 2% of that in profit. Okay, so eventually it comes back up, and it always does. You look at this. You know, when Bitcoin goes down like this, people panic sell and they lose their money, only for Bitcoin to turn around the next day and start going back up again, and they're kicking themselves. So if you buy, let's say you buy here and it goes up to here, and you're thinking, yeah, 1% in profit, and then it tanks and it goes 2%, 3%, 4% down, don't panic, just leave it. It'll come back up. And this is Bitcoin itself. If we look at any other coin, they usually follow Bitcoin. If Bitcoin goes up, all of the altcoins usually go up. Like this. There we go. Bitcoin's gone up, and this one's gone up even better. Nice steep rise there. Back to Bitcoin. This is Cardano ADA. This is the 1-day chart. Each candle is 1 day long, and you can see quite a nice, decent rise there. And I think that is going to tank a bit. I think it's going to come down to around here. Okay, let's go back to Bitcoin. You see, Bitcoin's just been rising and rising every day, and the Cardano was a lot steeper rise the last few days. All right. So anyway, I believe Bitcoin is going to reach 20k within 1 week. All right. Phenomenal rise. It's been getting up here, and I've been thinking, oh my God, it's gonna crash. It's gonna crash, and it hasn't crashed yet. I think it will. I think it'll reach around 20k. The excitement will get it to about 20k, and then I think it's going to crash to about 17 or 16. All right. But even then, if you were to buy now, and it to go up to 20k, and you don't sell it, and you don't sell it in time, and it crashes down to 17 or 16k, don't sell it. Just wait. You know it's coming back up. It will come back up, even if it takes a month or two. Once you sell down here, you're losing your money. It's gone, and you are back to square one, where you're starting with a smaller amount, and then you're trading again, and then you repeat the same mistake over and over again, and all of your money gets sucked out of you, and it's gone. And then you are disillusioned with Bitcoin, and you give it up as a bad game, and you call it a scam, and you don't have a nice experience with it. If it comes into the red, hodl, hold. Yeah, think of it as a long-term investment. If you've got $100 of Bitcoin and you buy it yesterday and it drops by 10% today and it's only worth $90, don't sell it, just leave it. And it will eventually be worth $200, $300. Just keep holding on. In fact, the best thing to do, let's say today you buy $100 worth of Bitcoin and it drops 10%, so it's only worth $90. Instead of selling it, you need to buy more. Buy another $100 worth. Yeah, because you're getting it cheap. It's on sale, cheaper. That's the mindset you've got to have. All right? Okay, so let's go back to here, see what's going on. Still minus 1.5, minus 0.15, minus 0.2. That'll come back up, and it'll probably sell for 1 or 2%. When it does come back up, there we go. I think it's still going to come down a little bit more before turning round. You see this pattern here developing? It's going to do this kind of thing, up and down. All right. So yeah, I'm not worried in the slightest. I've seen way bigger percentages under than that. As you can see, if you let the bot do its thing, it works better. The less you interfere with it, the better you'll do. Alright? Trade with small amounts. Don't trade. I mean, I have told the bot this time round, from month 3 onwards, instead of using the whole $670, I am now only letting the bot trade with $400 worth. So that is a potential at $10 per trade of 40 trades going on at the same time. Now I've increased the amount to $12.50, so I could probably get just over 30 trades happening all at the same time. But the good thing about that is some of it sells quickly and it puts money back into that pot with $400. And if everything goes in the red, I leave myself $373 available to get myself out of trouble with a manual DCA should I have to. Alright? So yeah, there's lots of things you can do to minimize the risk of having 20-30 trades all in the red and all your money gone so you can't trade anymore. That's a horrible experience and I have learned from it. I will explain more in detail about how not to get trapped like that. And that video will only be available to people who click the link below this video. Don't use ad blockers. Don't use incognito windows. And if I see a referral and you get CryptoHopper at $49 a month, I will get a commission of about $4.90. And that's 10% commission at no extra cost to you. So that benefits me. I'll get $4.90, and in return I will thank you, show my appreciation to you by sending you the secret sauce video where I've got all of my settings, what to do, what not to do, and the strategy so that you can make a decent profit in the coming months. Okay, I want you to do even better than I did in my first month. I want you to make $200 instead of that $100 in 2 months, you know, because that would be really helpful. So I recommend anyway, whatever amount of money you have available to trade with, you split it into 2 chunks. Don't trade with all of it. Reserve some of it. I want to show you, before I go, the base config, sell settings, coins and amounts. Alright, can you see? $400. That means I am not allowing the bot to trade with anything more than $400. So that's what I meant by $373, which is almost half of the total funds I've got. I'm keeping that $373 in reserve to get myself out of a pickle should I need to. That is one excellent tip I can give you right now. I would not now put in 773. That's what I did for the last 2 months, and that is why I ended up in trouble, and that is why I didn't make as much as I could have, because I was stuck in all those red trades. So I'm going to leave that at 400. Click on save, and I'm going to leave you again with a reminder: if you want that secret sauce video, buy a CryptoHopper through my link below the video. Comment below this video, hey Jim, I've got CryptoHopper. I will go and check my affiliate account. If I see a new commission and you can prove it's you because it'll be dated, I'll go, yep, okay. Let's say your name's John. Yep, okay, John, I can see that you're a referral of mine. Thanks for signing up through my link and making me $4.90 at no extra cost to you. It's still going to cost you $49 a month, despite if you go through anybody. All right, so anyway, I'll send you that secret source video, and that's only for you if you go through my link. All right, well worth doing. Put it this way, I wish somebody had done that for me. I would have got to maybe $900 or $1,000 by now if I'd have known what I now know that I've learned in the last 2 months. Okay, so I love you and leave you. I will just again show you my start balance was $670 2 months ago. I have grown that to $773. In fact, it's a little bit more than 773 because I do have some dust here, lots of little bits and pieces that I can cash in later on. When that grows a bit more, I'll cash that in later. And obviously using Binance, I've got BNB coin. There's about $7 worth there, I think. So it's $6 or $7. Let's call it $5 there. Add that $5 to that. Where is it? Add that $5. So I've actually got close to $780. So that would be more than $103. Is like closer to $110 profit. All right, and I think that's quite amazing. I've made enough to cover the cost of CryptoHopper and the signals, and the rest is pure profit. Not massive profits yet, but as you saw with a compounded interest rate, it will grow. All right, and that's based on a 0.5%. Very conservative. I'll be very happy if I make that 0.5 per day. So I'm going to love you and leave you. Click the link below this video. Like, subscribe, leave me a comment, especially if you buy CryptoHopper through my link, so that I know it's you. I can check my affiliate account, and then I can send you the secret source video, which I put together, and get you set up just the way I'm set up. And hopefully you will also make 0.5% per day, and you will be in profit nicely. In a couple of years, you'll be sitting on $29,000. If you start with this amount, obviously. You might be starting with $1,000. You might be starting with a smaller amount, $500. Now, what I should really do is try $1,000 in here. Just quickly. I said I'll love you and leave you. Alright, that would turn that into $38,000 in 2 years. Right? That'd be nice. So play with your numbers in this website. It's called compounddaily.org calculator. Try different percentages. Try different start amounts. Let's try $100. Calculate. $100 would turn into $618 in 2 years with 0.25%. Right? I'm waffling on too much. So again, like, comment, subscribe, share this video on your Facebook. That'd be even more helpful to me. You know, the more referrals I can get, the better. Obviously, everybody wants to make money. And if you found this video helpful, go through my link and I'll send you that secret source video. So until next time, take care, bye bye, and have a good November.